What's up, gamers? Welcome back to the Halo Infinite Grifball podcast. It's Noplex here, and I'm bringing you episode 8, and this is the Winter League 25 AGLA preseason episode. And I'm here with my co-host, who's finally back after somewhat of a hiatus, Mav.
Hello, hello, good to be back.
And for our special guest today, we have season 2 rookie extraordinaire, Cosmos. How you doing
Hey,
today,
thanks
man?
for having me.
All right. So, had a long off season, a lot of stuff going on, and it's good to be past all bidding and stuff like that. So it's I know everybody's ready to get the season games going, and the season does actually start tomorrow. So I'm glad we're getting this in. So first thing I got here is that just wanted to talk a little bit about Mav returning. He wasn't on the last few episodes. The championship editions, he's usually not on those anyways, but we had co-host PD for a little while. Or oh, it was one episode actually. But I'm glad to have you back, Mav. You started this show with me, so it's good to have you back as the analytics guy and the co-host.
I'm not sure if I'm quite the analytics guy. I mean, how long has it been? 3 episodes since I've been on here? So you had the off season, or you had the championship one, and I wasn't on that one. Did you do one before that? Was
Uh,
it?
I think the last time you were on one is number 3 because number 4 was the championship, and then I think number 5. No, you were on number 5. That's right. Remember, it was me, you, and Death.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It's been man, it's been what, a few months since we last hit one of these, hasn't it?
Right, right. So, and another thing with Mav is for a long time he's been putting in work for the community. And our community can be a little unforgiving at times, but last season he was an IGL admin and was able to get that role, and now he's finally got his green play Grifball admin role. I know you never thought it would happen, so congratulations, man, you did it.
Thank you, thank you. I no, actually, I was about to say I'm the youngest admin ever, but then I realized that Death has actually been here shorter than me, and he got it with like in less than a year, which is actually kind of crazy. Which is kind of like a props to Death more than it is to me. Kind of shows how much he's done.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But I don't think you're the youngest admin. I believe that might go to PD because he was admin at one time, and I think he was much younger than probably like 16. I think whenever he was an admin for the league, so he was
I was
pretty.
thinking it was maybe. I was thinking it might have been be me, Pop Tart, or someone else because I knew Pop Tart said he was pretty young when he was last admin.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. You could be right. So, all right. So, moving on, the next section that we got here is pretty much mainly for our guests here. Just to go into a little bit of back history. After season 1, Shrek signed up and got Cosmos to come play, and that was Cosmos' first season. He went to a championship berth the first season, was a standout player. Um, Definitely one of the most chill guys in the community. I think he's probably if we had a vote somehow in the Discord asking who's someone's favorite person in the community, I feel like Cosmos would get a lot of votes. Um, Even from season 2, you everybody already knew you were going to be great. Last season was kind of a roller coaster with your season and the trade and all that stuff. I was involved in that too, so it's been wacky. That was wacky, and this season he signed up to captain to take the reins over his team. So yeah, man. Thanks for being on the show with us today, Cosmos. So I guess you can just say what you got to say now.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Appreciate all the kind words, of course. It's been a crazy ride being in this community. It was a rough introduction. There was some controversy there, and I genuinely felt bad about it. Never wanted to do anything like that again, but it is what it is, and we moved on from that. And yeah, I think everything's good now. Yeah, season 3 was pretty hectic. We starting out with Zim, uh, and just I don't know issues with synergy and some of that I'm sure is my fault. Uh, I tend to be a more aggressive player and just want to like push in all the time, and I think in some instances Zim was the same way, and it just didn't meld well together. So then we did a trade with the team that you were on at the time. End up transferring Squirrel and I to Spank, and unfortunately, it was a similar story there. Spank also a very aggressive player, and I think the synergy just wasn't there. Uh, but now with season 4, being able to captain my own team and pick the players that I want is it's nice. So definitely looking forward to seeing how that pans out.
I was gonna say Shrek. I'm not Shrek. Spank might be like the most aggressive player in the entire league. I don't know. From like me, he always holds forward on me. Like he isn't a very aggressive player.
Yeah,
Honestly, I feel like that honestly maybe should have worked out more than it should have, but who knows?
Yeah,
I would say the only person I could think of that's about as aggressive as Spank is like pure aggression is maybe Ace Spence because he's like Ace Spence is aggressive, but he's also deadly too. It's like he's real efficient about being aggressive. But yeah, I definitely understand your thoughts about the season 3 being wild, Cosmos. It was pretty wild, and the beginning of my season kind of mirrored yours. It was like we had a good team on paper, but we couldn't make it work. Like we tried our damnedest. We played in customs and all that, and we couldn't beat anybody. But it's always good to have a nice freshen up, in the middle of a season of trade. We'd only played 3 games, and I was already being traded. But it's like I wanted to give the captains what they wanted, and the other players wanted it too. And it's good to have that fresh outlook on a season, even if things didn't work out as you thought it would.
yeah, and I know we had talked about it a little bit, and I obviously appreciate you being pretty understanding of it and willing to try it out because it could be a rough situation if the other players are happy on that team and they don't want to get traded. Then I mean, yeah, I guess ultimately it's up to the captain, but it sounded like we were both kind of in a similar situation, so it worked out.
Who did you get traded for again? Wasn't it Gingy?
Yeah,
Is someone? Oh, okay, right. So it was Gingy Noplex for you and Squirrel, right?
yeah,
I don't have the exact details in front of me, so I was trying to remember that off of just pure hard memory.
yeah. No, that's correct. That's what happened. Um, and yeah, I just found myself in a lot of our games with Spank. And even in late league now, like I end up playing a lot more passively than I'd like to, because we just have similar play styles. So it's kind of tough to build a good synergy that way. I think, unless we're like each doing our own thing. But I think the way that Grifball has progressed since even season 2, it matters a lot more the uh, the synergy between players at this point.
Yeah, I would say Infinite's probably the most like team-based Grifball out of maybe all of them. I didn't play in the older days. Like I don't really know like what the peak was like. If it was more of like a if you have like an ace type player, the league is dominated by like that. Like the team's dominated by like that one good player. So maybe Noplex could shed some light on that. But I'd say Infinite by far for me has been the most team-based Grifball so far.
I would say, well, I didn't play Halo 3, so I didn't play a lot in that, and that's probably my least favorite game to play. Um, and even though I started in Reach, I don't really like that one either. But I don't know. I would say probably Halo 5 would be the most comparative to what we got right now, because it's a little bit faster than the older games, and Halo 4 was faster, a little bit faster than Reach and all that. But I would say they all probably require a fair amount of working together because you're not going to do much if you're not working together, really. But I would say the teamwork probably varies from game to game. But yeah, I would say Infinite. There's a lot more to it. But we'll get into that a little bit later when we talk about the game type and whatnot. But another thing I was going to note on here in Cosmos' section before he says what else he's got to say is I find it funny that the season 2 when you came in Shrek brought you in, and in the very next season you bring Squirrel in. So it's like now it's Squirrel's turn to bring in his player next season. So you gotta keep it going. But that's really awesome stuff. If we can get just one player here, one player there, that's actually huge for the community. You can't really expect people to come in droves, 5 or 10 at a time or nothing like that. But one player can make a big difference.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it's been really cool seeing like, because Shrek, he played Grifball I think for a while in Reach, but we played a lot of Slap City together. It was a Super Smash Brothers knockoff on PC. So we would compete in that. And Squirrel's also from that game, so we all kind of came from that game, the fighting game community. So maybe there'll be more people in the future we can bring over.
Just bring over the entire community at this point, man. Bring them all in. We all want a bunch of Cosmoses and Squirrels and Shreks. We can live with it.
Yeah, I
Is
mean, you're.
everybody?
I was just gonna say he's not wrong because I mean everybody that's come from your community has been high skill, high level player. You know, very high ceiling. Man, as far as we saw, everybody thought Squirrel was going to be a master runner, and he's very good at running, but he's just as good as a tank too. So I would say he's more of a hybrid.
Yeah, yeah, he's been doing well, both tanking and running. I think he uses a sword a lot too, and he does a pretty good job with that, like picking off people and being tricky with the sword. So yeah, it's good that we have a variety of play styles too. Like Shrek is, I'd say, probably more of a tank, definitely than Squirrel, and probably similar to me, but he's more like flanking focused. And then I like to stay, mid and just tank center, and Squirrel obviously being a runner. So yeah, it's interesting to see how because we all play different characters too, kind of. Actually, Shrek and I played the same character for a while in Slap City, but he ended up switching mains. Uh, but yeah, we all played different characters in that game, and maybe some of that impacts like our play style, or just we naturally lean a certain way. So it's kind of why it progressed that way, I guess. I'm not sure.
Right. The next thing I got here is really talking about the game type. Over the off season, when the last season ended, we still had grapple shot and repulsors in the game, but I did some rushes over the off season. People wanted Halo 4 until we went back and played it, and then they were like, "Holy shit, did we really play this for that long?" It was a big shock. And then I was just doing some random shit, and then um, we did that. Wait, Death had that no equipment tourney. Wasn't that during last season? There was just no equipment at all. It was like the
I
Mint
thought it was
Blitz
in
one, I
the off
believe.
season.
Oh yeah, it was a Mint Blitz tourney. So we had that, and people seemed to like it. So I think we did it again, and then I set up a poll for what people wanted to do next, and Mungo and Cosmos were pretty excited about the thought of adding thrusters. Ram too. He liked the idea, so I was like, fuck it, why not? It's the off season to give people something to do, and that's what started it. People played it and ended up liking it a bit. No equipment and adding thrusters, and it's a whole new fucking game type now. I'd say.
I mean, oh, no, it's not quite a mirror of Halo 5 since Halo 5 has like what do you call it's not thrusters, it's the other thing. It's LinkedIn. We don't have like the smart mode LinkedIn like Halo 5 did, but it's like pretty close to what it was. I mean, it's probably I mean, maybe Death could do a smart LinkedIn mode because I know he tried in the second season, or it was maybe the third season. Second or third season, he like attempted to make a smart link mode, but like this is by far the closest we've ever had to Halo 5, and honestly, maybe like the most enjoyable game type for me personally. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Even when we played the rush with, or not rush, the like separate tournament, I guess, without equipment, I preferred that personally. I know there's some people that are fond of the grapple and the repulse, but it's just not for me. And then having a movement option that's available to everybody, where you can just get that burst movement and catch somebody off guard, is a lot more enjoyable, at least to me.
I always like to see things fresh, and might as well try it out and see what the community favors and what they like. And Mav makes a good point. It's not quite mirrored to Halo 5 because of Smart Link and some of the other nuances in the game, like the YY switching fast. And there's another way. There was a way you could launch pretty good in that game. I remember Tariq used to do it in Halo 5, but it still plays much different than Halo 5 because Halo 5 has almost an instant hammer swing that's timing based, and whereas Infinite has a wind up for for its hammer, and it's a little slower, and it's more about predicting what the other person's going to do. I mean, timing is a factor as well, but it seems like prediction is what it's more about in this game.
It Halo 5. Didn't Halo 5 have like one other thing that Infinite doesn't? I oh, ground pound. Wait, no, that was taken out, was it? Is it? I don't.
Yeah, ground pound and the shoulder charge was in it, and what was the other thing that had it in it? I can't remember now. But yeah, ground pound and shoulder charge and slide, of course. That was the other thing that people liked at first, and we had a season with it, but we ended up taking it out. But yeah, ground pound and shoulder charge were taken out of the game because shoulder charge you could just get free kills with it. I remember playing with it in the very early stages of Halo 5, and obviously something that not competitive is going to get taken out right away.
I've seen H5 highlights where like someone will get like a X term because they'll like have like a whole team like bunched up, stacked, punch each other. Just watch them and get fucking wiped out because of one ground pound. It's kind of crazy. That was like that back then, and like how easy it seemed to get a kill compared to what is now, where it's all prediction based.
And none of the games before had spawn protection either.
I
No,
completely forgot about that.
no, none of the other games ever had spawn protection. If so, I'm not sure about it. But I believe the ground pound clips might have been something for matchmaking because we never had ground pound in any of the league variants. Um,
Oh,
no, wait, no, it was the first
I was gonna say,
season. The first season, yes, it was, but I don't know if you could kill with it. But maybe so. Memory's a little fuzzy these days. I'm getting fucking old.
you're not that. Well, okay, you might be old, no.
Oh,
I don't remember how exactly old you are, but you might be getting old.
Well, I'm not the oldest, so but I'm up there. I'm in my 40s, so getting up there, rolling over the hill a little bit. But
still not bad.
yeah, none of the previous games had spawn protection. Not that I know of, but it's exciting that the Halo Studios thing happened and that we're getting some kind of roadmap for future games. So it'll be interesting to see if they include Grifball in their future plans. It would be very nice to see.
Hopefully this time around, unless because I mean, obviously with Infinite, we've had barely like any. I don't know. Maybe besides from Death, we've had like no real contact with like 343. I mean, I wasn't here for the H5 days, so I don't know like how 343 like contacted the Grifball community or not. Because I know we go through like Knockyard. That's his name, isn't it? Like you can correct me. I can't remember his name top of my head.
No, you
It's
got it right.
Knockyard. Okay, it was Knockyard. It's like I know Knockyard's been speaking to Death, so like I'm not sure if we might be seeing Griffon matchmaking anytime soon. Hopefully we do, but who knows?
Yeah, that would be nice. I know we were doing like a test with them at one point. Some of the I believe 343 employees, Deathcrawler was showing off the mode, but I don't think it really went anywhere. At least not obviously not right after that.
I
So
mean I have some information about it because I've spoken to Death, so I'm not exactly sure if I can actually tell you because of NDA stuff. I don't know, so
yeah,
I don't know if we need to edit that out, but maybe not because I didn't actually say. Who knows? We'll just keep going. Hopefully not.
Nah, it'll be fine. I know he's working with Unishek. I think he's like one of the community managers for 343 now. I know they've had a few over the years, but it's nice to see that it's to be noticed, even if nothing comes out of it. It's nice to be noticed, even if it doesn't work out. At least they know
Yeah.
that we're still trying to do stuff. We're so dead that we can't die. Just put it that way.
Our community has been on the verge of death for many years, and somehow we still keep, coming back.
well, and there has been one improvement, I think. I haven't noticed any EAC recently. I don't know about you guys.
That's a good point. That's been like a pain in our asses since like the summer.
Yep.
Before that, how long has the EAC bug been in Infinite? Oh,
Remember it was right. Remember how last season it took a while for the sign up stand and all that? It was like right before that. There was like a big. It was EAC and it was the other game breaking bug that they had. So it was a good thing that it took that long because we would have started to see last season earlier. It would have been right there when all that shit was happening. Because EAC was, man, that was really frustrating.
it was so bad because I remember just like having us to constantly remake lobbies after lobby, and then like sometimes it wouldn't even work. And if someone joins the game, like sometimes the EAC bug would happen then, and someone could join, you'd have to end the lobby. It was just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good old 343, but they're no more. So hopefully, Halo Studios won't just be a reskin. Um, well, what I got next on the outline is an official change in the admin team. Definitely something that was needed for a while. Um, People can say all they want, roles don't matter, and that may be true, but I think they're only effective if they're taking away as much as they're given. I know people wanted to see some change. I'm glad we did, but there was change last season as well with having the IGL admin role and having that kind of be its separate thing, having it be its own thing. But it's good that we're obviously being active and we're having seasons and stuff like that still, even though there was no Forge or anything like that at the beginning of Infinite. Shout out to Ace Spence there, Didge and Fancy and all the other people that worked on the game type. Death, of course, now. Skullin. But yeah, it's just good that we're not dead because being alive is good.
Is this the first admin like? So what? The last time I think ad like new AGLA admins were, I guess, added was 3 years ago. I don't. I If you give me a second, I can actually tell you when we had our last like admin edition. I believe it was sometime in the summer of 2021 when we were like in the weird waiting phase for when Infinite came out, and then obviously when Infinite came out, it didn't have Forge, and then we had like another year-long phase before we could even play on Infinite because of Forge. So, okay, it's gonna take me too long, but I'm gonna say the last time we had like an admin change was sometime in 2021. So it's been a good 3 years. And obviously, not to shit on the old guys, but some of those admins who were added didn't really do anything. So I'm glad that obviously now we have me, Death, and Noplex here to actually help like spice things up a little. Hopefully, keep the community alive and grow it a little more.
Yeah. Yeah, I know from my perspective, I mean, obviously, I'm pretty much entirely on the outside, but even in season two, it seemed like if you had any questions, just ask A Spence.
Yeah,
And
Ace Spence was the guy to always ask.
right. So now having like more people that are actively involved in the community and play the game regularly, like you got a lot more people that you can reach out to. So it's not all on one person. That's a definitely a good change.
Yeah, I'd like to see some other things going forward, but that's another story for another day, I guess. I'm just kind of glad, like I said, we got some change going and more people getting active. It's all about new blood. That's the way this community's always stay alive. Somebody new comes along and they keep it going for a while, and then somebody else new comes along. Um, it's just the way things have always been, really. The next topic that I have up is bid hype, and draft seasons are cool and all. Classic seasons back in the day, they could be pretty fun where you picked your own teams. Sometimes not so fun if you weren't on the right team, but there's nothing quite like bid hype. I remember the very first season, whenever it was a thing, Summer League 13. It was new, it was fresh, and it was just really wild to just track the bidding page. Because draft hype is okay, I mean, who's going to get picked next? It's usually pretty easy, but with bid league, especially as a captain, and Cosmos will tell you this, it's wild. Like you have access to or a chance to get a lot more players than you would in draft. Like you have options basically that it boils down to. So I've always felt bid league is very fun to watch.
I think, I mean, so obviously some may or may not know, I captained during the last bid league, and I would say this time around has been like so much better to see because I feel like so much of the better players. Honestly, I think how not to get off topic even more, but I think bid league should really be only captained by really good players. Obviously, not saying bad players can't, but I feel like it makes the league so much more balanced if you have the really good players doing it. That's, I guess, captaining in general for any season draft or bid, but like this time around for teams, it seems so much more balanced than it was in my past experiences with Grifball. I don't know if it's any different for any of you, but just from my perspective, it's so much more balanced now.
Yeah, I think there were some mistakes that were made, but
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. There's going to be mistakes, regardless if anything.
yeah, but for the most part, I would definitely agree. I think the teams are pretty balanced. I think they're balanced in different ways, though. Like it all ends up working out, but the I think the teams are going to have very different play styles in the season. But I guess we'll see how it actually plays out that way. Otherwise, I would say, yeah, bid is a very interesting format. It's a lot more exciting. Having that spreadsheet where you can see everybody, their credit value going up in real time with the timers, like it's definitely a lot more exciting. Um, I don't think if we do it again, I don't think that all the captains should be in one voice call. I think that was a mistake, but that's okay. Um, yeah, it was definitely a lot more exciting than the draft. Like season two, I know, didn't it take multiple days, or do I have that wrong?
For the draft,
Yeah, for season two.
I think so. Hold on, I can tell you. I now have access to the draft channel now that I have my new role, but I believe it took 2 days.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like it bled on into the next day. I think it was at the very end, the last draft picks, like the fifth, I believe, fifth or sixth. No, that was season two. There wasn't six. There were some fifths though, a few of them.
Uh,
yeah.
only.
I think even just that element of it, like forcing people to make the picks and they have a limited time to work with. I think we did that with season three, where there
Yeah, we
was
sort of had to do season three because how many people we had, but that's, I guess, not a great excuse if I'm being honest here.
yeah.
Well, I would say in general, bid league is definitely a structure that's set up better for higher tiered players to captain. Whereas draft, it really hinders you if you're a good player because you're just going to pick later and later. Like, I mean, you can be an A Spence or a novice and all that, Zim or Spank, and want a captain, but you're just going to get so late of a pick and not get Serpentine to make up for it. It's just really hard to ask people to want to do that. But bid league, your captain value is going to be less than what you would go for in bidding. So, because I mean, think about it. What was your captain credit value, Cosmos? Were you like 130, 140?
It was 200, but we had 600 to start.
Oh, 200. Okay. I was way off. Jeez.
No, I,
But but you would have went for 350 plus in bidding, for example. There's no doubt about it. I mean, so I just feel like bidding is definitely set up better for higher tiered captains, and somebody that like Evil and Smurf can get in on that too, and it still makes it balanced because they get more credits to spend, and they can go after higher valued players. So um, obviously, I've always been a big fan of bid league. I think it's definitely an interesting format.
It is definitely different because, I mean, I haven't had much bid experience since I've only been here 5 years, 4 years. I've been here so long I forget. But like, I don't know. Like, I would say for me personally, bidding and drafting, I maybe like drafting a little bit more, but that's more of like a bias because I view Grifball as like a sport more than, I guess technically it is a sport, but like more as like a real world sport where like pretty much I think every sports league in the world uses a draft type concept. So maybe like I just enjoyed that much more to compare it to actual sports, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's fair. I could see that.
Sorry, I'm still trying to find how long the last draft took. This is taking me a lot longer than I thought it would.
Oh, it's okay. Actually, if I remember right, I believe the bid league structure that it was Taylor Can and Doc status mainly, but I do believe it came from like a hockey league, is what it was used in, some like fantasy hockey league or some. It was something hockey related, if I remember correctly. So, uh,
Hmm.
it wouldn't be for NHL, obviously, if it's something lower tiered. But yeah, I do believe that season two draft bled on into the second day, because
Yeah, that sounds right.
but yeah, it's good to have timers. You know, everybody's busy, but with phones and all that these days, everybody can take just like 1 second to send a text. You know, we know motherfuckers be texting and driving. That's for sure. uh, yeah, I guess I can just go ahead and move on to the next topic. I hosted a preseason rush as I like to do, and I've done it since before season two. And it's a chance the first chance for everyone to use their new team that is newly drafted. So I do my best to make sure only official teams show up, but sometimes people need a sub. I ended up subbing for Sab's team, but the winner of the rush was Cosmos' team, Employees of the Month. And I believe they knocked off Novice's team in the finals in 3 games. So congrats to y'all, Cosmos. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, it was those were some hard fought games. They lasted so long. I thought the rush would end a lot sooner than it did, but uh yeah, that last game against Novice's team, I remember I was getting so tired of playing that, and just tired in general. Like I almost just wanted to alt tab out of the game mid game and DM Novice like, hey, can we call it there? But I saw my team was they wanted to win. They were still going and everything, and they were still playing really well. So uh, we had to like keep going, you know. But it worked out, and I think they played really well. You know, Big Al is our runner. He's gotten a lot better. They're all willing to practice all the time and take advice and give advice, and it's been a great experience so far. Irene, Irene is a steal for 30 credits. He's been popping off. He's upgraded his setup just for this season and changed some of the settings around and stuff, and I think that's been helping him a lot. Just playing together as a team has been helping too. Chemical, of course, always a solid player, been doing really well. We definitely have a lot of tanking power, I'd say. So
What
yeah,
time did your games end? Because I wasn't there because I believe I had work, so I don't know when it actually ended.
uh, I believe it was around. Yeah, I think it was around 12
Oh
uh,
shit!
Eastern. Yeah,
God, how long were your game? Wait, were the finals double elimination or like 2 games?
all the games were best of three. I think.
Oh, okay. Though I guess that explains why they took so long. I'm assuming it went down to a third game between you and Novice.
Yeah.
Was it 5-4, 5-4, 5-4?
Uh so the first game we won pretty convincingly. I guess Spank was eating Taco Bell while he was playing. Uh so it was a lot easier. The second game was pretty quick, but they were getting a lot of pro runs on us. And we lost. It was I don't know if we lost that like 2-5 or 3-5, and then I think the last game we ended up winning like 5-3 or 5-2 or something like that. But they
Oh,
still took a long time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if it ended at 12 o'clock at night.
Well, the funny thing is that I started the rush an hour earlier than I usually do.
Mhm.
One of the reasons why it dragged on is that it took us 30 minutes to get our game started on our side of the bracket. I was subbing for Sab against Evil's team, I believe, and Well, it took a bit to get that started, so one side of the bracket was kind of held up, and then we had 2 3-game series, and then ours was only 2 games, and then Evil's team beat us. Then moved on, and the Evil's team ended up playing Novice's team, and that took them to 3 games too, and then Novice advanced to play Cosmos. So, yeah, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it was still going after 11 o'clock. I was like, damn, some long ass games, and in general, Infinite's got some pretty quick games, 10, 12, 14, 16-minute games, but these games drug for sure.
I think last season, like the median average game time was, I think like 17 minutes. This is like by far been the quickest game for like any Grifball ever. Well, to my knowledge, like I don't know how quick games were for like H3 or well, Reach actually probably were the longest games since Reaches. Pretty fucking long. I don't know. Maybe Noblex. Do you know what the fastest Grifball game has been? Like, which game has had the fastest?
It has to
If
be
that makes
Infinite.
sense.
It has to be Infinite. I do not remember 12, 14-minute games on the average. I do remember I was a rookie in Reach. I was in the semifinals, and I played against, I can't remember what the team name was, but we had a 3-game series, and there were 2 games that lasted almost 3 fucking hours. Game 2 and Game 3. One game was like an hour and 15 minutes, and the game after it was an hour and 30 minutes. 2 fucking games. It was nuts. Um,
Jesus.
and then Halo 4, they had that crazy ass long game in the first GGL championship. It was easy as pie versus 4 guys, 1 ball, and it was like an over 2 hours for one game. It was something like that. It was 2 hours for one game. So,
I think I'd be done playing Grifball if I ever played a game that long.
but yeah, it's pretty crazy. Infinite definitely has faster cycled games compared to the other games.
Yeah, I think a lot of those games in the maybe even the average game length, at least for our games in the rush, was probably close to 30 minutes. Just it's yeah, maybe it's just us. Like it just seems really difficult to take down the runner right now and get a turnover.
AD's a really good like runner with that when it comes to like preserving the ball.
Hmm.
Actually, I'd probably argue he might be the most patient runner in the entire league, which isn't a bad thing, but like she really prioritizes, protecting the ball over anything else. So obviously, patient runners are going to make your games go longer.
Yeah,
It's kind
their
of odd tough.
their team is good. Evil, KD, Squirrel, and PD. They're annoying. They're really balanced. You don't really know. I mean, they can all run it in a way. I know Evil ran last season. We know KD's really good at running. Squirrel, he can run it. PD sucks, but sometimes he does stuff. Just kidding, PD. I love you.
Shots fired.
But no, he can. He's capable, but I don't know. I think PD would probably be better flanking. That's probably what he'd be best at. But yeah. Moving on. One of the last things that we have is preseason rankings by Evil, and shout out to Evil for throwing this together for me. Rankings can be polarizing at times, and not everybody's going to agree, but that's part of it. The guy pushes out content like no other, so he's always up for doing things with me whenever I ask, or for me when I ask. So he's got for number 9, he's got Mungo and the Jerrys, where it's Mungo's the captain and Mav, Scullin, and Mr. Vine, which is Thumping Hawk. And he's really only has y'all 9 because he
I
hasn't
don't think
seen
he's seen Geo play.
he hasn't seen you play. And this is what he had to say. I only have this team in last due to not having seen them play at all. The potential for the squad is through the roof, though. I can't wait to see how the season plays out. And I would say, in my experience of playing against y'all are pretty good because I mean we scrimmed against y'all and y'all beat us 5-2, 5-3. So I felt like y'all looked pretty good. I mean you're a high credit player, Mav, so you're gonna have big impact. Mungo is just like fucking Osmosis Jones. He's gonna kind of mesh in with any team, sort of like how I can. Scullin, he's a capable hybrid. I haven't seen Thumping Hawk play, so has he played yet for y'all?
So he's played a few times. He is currently not in the U.S., but he's going to be back home. I believe I think it's January 4th is when he's coming home. Luckily, we don't play a game until like January 6th, so he should have a few games under his belt. I think for maybe the first few games we're gonna have Geo play, since Geo has arguably been the steal of the draft. No offense to Rain, but we got Geo for free, and Geo's been playing kind of wild for a person who's never really played the game or never played Infinite before. He was really good at Halo 5 to my knowledge, but I wasn't around. But like so far everything's been good. The only team I think we've lost to in scrims was Hell's team, but we won we either won the first game or we lost the first game. But like we've always usually won or split our games in scrimming, so I can't really blame you for not ranking us last since he hasn't seen us play. Also, I guess I might as well tell you now. We decided our team name should be ninth place because Evil's ranking. So we're gonna go with that instead of whatever the fuck Evil had says.
Yeah, in my opinion, just based off of playing with you guys or playing against you guys, I think you're top two for sure. I'd probably put you at number one, but maybe you just counter us really well, but your team seems really good.
It could just be that. I was gonna say because I did we lose to you in scrimming because we scrimmed you a bunch of times, haven't we? I don't
Yeah,
think we.
I don't think we've beaten you yet.
Hopefully, you beat us soon. We don't. Honestly, we should probably scrim more than we should, but I have work, so most of the time the only times we're available are like later in the day. So hopefully, I can once my schedule clears up, we can scrim a lot more and be more. No, what's the word? Not rusty.
Yeah.
Do we want to go to the base team? I don't have the ranking.
Well, I had some more thoughts on it.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
Geo, no, you're good. Geo was good. I remember he played. He subbed in and played, and he was definitely really solid. So if he plays more, I know he's a capable player, capable of tank in space. Just any new player that hasn't played this, it's just good to put him out on the edge. Let him tank 1-on-1 or try to face 2v1s. On the edge. That way they can get that reload down and all that. Yeah, I guess it is tough to rank teams whenever we only have 9 teams and we have a lot of talent spread around the league. So, but I think y'all have all the pieces there for sure. And number 8, he's got Ascension, which is Solace, Deathcrawler, Recharging, Epic Beast. Solace gets his duo, Deathcrawler, along with solid role players, Recharge, and Epic Beast. I could see this team being a heavy playmaking team with Solace being the best tank. I guess this team is definitely rounded. You got Solace, who's really good at just kind of being an anchor tank, standing there in the middle and getting kills, having good awareness and whatnot. And Death, he's classically been a great passive player, but he's a he's definitely a good annoying role player. Recharging, same thing. Epic Beast, he's a capable runner. So I mean, they have all the pieces there, but I'm not really too sure how they'll fare against the other teams. That's a team I haven't seen play yet either.
My only like kind of gripe is that they're taking power, but like again, you have Solace, so like maybe things work out. I'm assuming that Epic is probably going to run on this team. It could be him or Recharge slash Frenzy. So like I could definitely see where Evil said it's going to be a playmaking team because like there's not really a second strong tank. It's just like a lot of what's the word? Uh, like capable. Like they're not quite like I don't want to call him a B tier player, but like I'm gonna use my teammate Scullin. Scullin's like quite not like an A tier player, like maybe me, Cosmos, but he's like still like above average. I would say like Solace's team is kind not. I don't want to say average to be mean, but like average around. Besides from obviously Solace is I think an great player. I don't have his exact stat in front of me. He is an A. but like I kind of worry about like how exactly this team is going to tank, I guess. I just don't think they have like a second good tank that can help. It's just my thought.
Yeah, I think they just need to practice together as a team and get used to the new mode, and then I think they can do pretty well. Uh, Recharge can definitely get kills if they have Beast running. They're gonna have Solace tanking. I would think. He's a good tank. Um, so and then yeah, Deathcrawler. I know he has been pretty busy recently, but hopefully he can get some practice in, and then I think that team can do fairly well.
The Death Father, the dad of our game type. I feel like their team kind of resembles Evil's team in a way with how they have that balance. You know, they're kind of all well-rounded players in a way. But yeah, Mav, you're right. I believe Epic is definitely gonna be running with it for this team. I mean, I know Recharging can as well, but uh, Epic's he did a good job running last season, and he ran for Genji's team in season 2. So I definitely think this team they could definitely compete. They got all the pieces there. But
Definitely going to be a playmaking team.
yeah, so for number 7, Evil's got Shrek Republic, which is Shrek, Havoc Puppies, Hyde or Blood and Nick, and then Ducky. And then they also have Majestic Kittens as a 5th. And Evil says, I really only have this team low due to the lack of time seeing them play together. Shrek is a force, and he always has his teams ready to go. This team definitely has the tanking potential. There's no doubt about it. I think if they can mesh well together, I think that'll be really annoying. I mean, we know how good Shrek is. He's a top 5 player in the league. He can say he's not all he wants, but it's still true. Uh, and I know Havoc hasn't played this game a lot. I know she was a Halo 5 player, but she can definitely tank in space, strong side, and take on a one-on-one, no problem. Hyde, he's a good flexible tank. Ducky, we know he likes to quack quack and fly around. And then Kittens will be there to sub in for him whenever they need it. So, with that main 4, Shrek, Puppies, Nick, Ducky, they definitely got a good bit of potential there. I think it's going to be all who runs for this team. That's going to be key in whether they have success or not.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe on paper, Shrek might have like the highest potential team. I mean, Havoc was a good player in Halo 4. I never saw them play Halo 5, but I'm pretty sure they were also probably pretty good. Uh, my like you said, my only concern with this team is just like who runs because I obviously I when I scrimmed Shrek, he ran. I don't think that was maybe the wisest decision, but it's also like who do you trust? I mean, Havoc isn't really a runner. She has always been, to my knowledge, a tank. Maybe that was different in the past, but I mean, Ducky can run. There were times when I was on Ducky's team in second season, where he ran and he was okay, but I think Ducky's too good. I mean, Nick. Then you get to Nick, and Nick is like probably in my eyes like a really aggressive version of Grunt Padre. He gets a lot of kills. His K like he goes -20, but who cares? Sometimes he leads the entire game in kills. And you don't really want him to run because obviously you don't want to like miss the tanking potential. And obviously, Kittens is what's the word here? Not bad, but like just unexperienced. Didn't really play like a crazy amount of games, and you probably don't want someone who's unexperienced to play such an important position as running. That's like my only concern with this team at the moment because I think like the rest of them like will mesh well together. I think it's just like a matter of time.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything that you said there, Mav. It's like if they have Shrek run, like they're going to be giving up a lot of tanking power unless the rest of his team can practice enough together that they figure out the tanking situation. They have good team tanking, and then it's fine for him to just run the ball. So I don't know if that's what their plan is, but I think that's what they need if he's going to be running.
Yeah, it definitely sucks when you have to have your star player run the ball, but in this game, I don't really feel like that's a bad idea because I feel like you really need top tier players running the ball. It's like anybody can follow routes and follow a wide open path to a goal. Anybody can run that shit in, but it's all about when you're on your side and you're getting pressed. What do you do? Do you throw it or do you not throw it? Do you hold it? And you got to get those punches. You can't rush either. You rush too far, you can die and lose it. Running's always been hard. I've always had a high respect for anyone who can run the ball, especially someone that can do it well and someone that can do it well and land the punches. So, uh, but that brings us to the next person on the list, or the next team, which is number 6, Like Clockwork, which is Sab's team. Uh, Dylan, Captain Sev, TCT Avenger. That's who he drafted, which we all know Sab's top tier talent. He's got some nice running talent. I mean, pretty much everybody he has on his team has ran or can run at some point. I mean, I believe Sev will be their main runner out of those players. Dylan and Avenger are both very capable flankers, kind of gritty defensive players too. So I just feel like Sab is going to gravitate towards good defensive players. Last season was the same with Chemical and D-Cleek and all that. Sab's always going to have a really good team defense team. I think what gives this team a leg up is that they already have Sev as a runner. I sub for them and during the rush, but I had to sub for Sev, and I don't run, so I was subbing in for probably their most key player other than Sab. You got to have that runner. But we lost 2 games to Evil, but I don't think that really means anything. When they have Sev in there and they're set runner, and Sab's going to be the shot caller, and they're going to work really well together. I can definitely see this team getting into the playoffs.
I think Sev is like a perfect fit for this team because I have seen Sev play Halo 5, and he was a very good defensive player. And obviously, you have Sav, who might be no. I'll say who would you say is a better defensive player all the time, Ace or Sav? Because they're both up there. They're probably top 3 each.
Of all time?
Yeah.
Oh man, I wouldn't even be able to tell you there. He's up there with it. I mean, he's up there as one of the best defenders of all time. You got to put Solace up there too. Maybe Shadow S16. He was a very good defender too. But let's just say they definitely belong in the same echelon for being an elite defender.
Defenders.
Yeah, they're definitely top.
Like Sev, I'm sure will have maybe maybe he'll be Katie or Sev, but once like I'm not sure how much exactly Sev's split the game, but I'm sure once Sev like adjusts, he'll have a nasty sword. A really like I don't know, maybe you guys know, but Dylan was a very, very good bomb stopper in Reach. Like absurdly good. I actually learned how to stop runners in Reach from him. It's like I know how good he is personally. It's like he could be, like another really good defender. I don't know how good of a defender Avenger is. I just haven't seen him really play a whole lot. But like this team is like really defensive heavy, and it's probably really good because you have a lot of aggressive teams.
Yeah, I think. I mean, they did well against us in some scrims. We scrimmed them before the tournament started, the rush. Actually, what I think Seb was there for the scrim. Maybe something came up or it was too late. I don't know. But
Sev can really not. Sev can really only play at latest at like 10, but that's like 4 a.m. for him.
Okay. Yeah, but they did well against us. I think we were pretty even, I would say. But yeah, they definitely see them making it to the playoffs.
Yeah, I know Sab's probably happy to have some familiarity from last season because I know Sev was on the team last season with D. Cleek and Kim. So he got to get that piece from last season. It's always good to go on to the next season. I think the keys for this team will be how well Dylan and Avenger can play because they're both very capable and they have a lot of pop-off potential. Avenger for sure, he's a very big X factor. If he shines in a game, they'll be really tough to beat, especially if Dylan can be annoying in the spawn. And as a flanker, I think this team works really well together. So for the next team, number 5, he's got Bert, which is my team. Sauteed Smurf, Ace Spence, myself, Priest, and Trespass is our 5th. Evil says, very strong trio of guys for Smurf. I expect the squad to be in contention for playoffs for sure. I I know that Smurf and Spence work well together because they were teammates in season 2. So it was a given that he was going to try to go after A Spence, and I ended up there for 120, and Priest around the same value, 130. I know Priest has been playing a lot more. He's been really active, and he said in our team chat that he's pretty motivated to play now, which I love to see it. It's been good to see him get in and practice. And Trespass has a lot of potential, but the number one thing for our team is similar to another team we talked about before, Shrek's team. Who's going to run? That's the big question mark for our team, and I think for us to be successful, I think A Spence is going to have to run. Cause I sure as fuck ain't doing it.
Yeah, or maybe even Smurf would end up running because I think he was the runner for Crazy Guys in season 2, right?
Yeah, yeah, he definitely did some running. It would look good for him. I think that's our second best look with Smurf running and A Spence taking. But when I was on A Spence's team first season, and we were successful mostly when he ran the ball because it just worked best for us. Our best player on the team had the ball. He was able to get the big punches that we need to push him for goals, aggressive play and all that. And A Spence is the man at that shit. He's definitely good at being aggro.
He's the highest rated player in the entire league. He, I don't know, like I might say novice is better, but like Spence's top two might be one. It's a mix. It depends who you think's better, novice or A Spence. I mean, A Spence is. I don't know, like maybe just his play. So I don't view A Spence as much as like an aggressive player. I view him sort of as like a balance player. Maybe it's because like when I tank against him, it's sort of a different experience. We all have different play styles, so who knows? So like A Spence, I mean, A Spence might be like the best team player in the entire league because like how well he meshes with people and like how well he like commands the court. If that makes sense, I don't know if that makes sense to any of you, but like how his callouts are really good. He's arguably a second captain, but well, I might argue he is the captain of this team, even though Smurf is technically, but like he's just the best if best overall Grifball player, including like just how smart he is in his callouts. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
I was just gonna say like I think the picks that you guys got were really solid. I mean, you guys have a lot of tanking power. Uh, when we were scrimming against you, it was novice for A Spence, but even with you guys tanking, like you were giving us trouble, and I think that's a good sign in terms of your tanking power. Even if you have A Spence run, I think it would work out well.
Yeah, and I think there's no shortness of wackiness on my team. That's for sure. We definitely joke around, and have a lot of fun in the chats or whatever. But yeah, I like I said, if we can keep possession and keep the aggressive running going, we definitely have a lot of the pieces here. I'm a very volatile player. I seem to come out of the gate really strong, but then kind of taper off into a game. I think the key for our team is if I can keep myself consistent, and if it'll be all about when Smurf plays, when Trespass plays, and how well Priest can keep playing, because he's been playing really well. I mean, when we scrimmed against you, Cosmos, Priest was playing out. He was playing really well in a few of those games. He was definitely playing better than me in the second and third game. I was getting pissed off. I couldn't do shit.
Yeah, he was doing. I mean, he's been doing great recently, even in late league and stuff. He's been playing a lot. I think maybe Thruster is a lot more appealing to him, and he's just I don't know. He's figured out the mode.
Yeah, so the next team that we got in fourth place is Knocked Goose, which is Evil's team, and he got Katie Skill, Master Squirrel, Risky, and he's got Endesis as a fifth. And Evil said of his team, Katie and Squirrel are an absolute dynamic duo, supported by the wildest duo of 2024-2025, Evil and PD. I think there's a chance for this team to make a push, is what he has to say. They are a really balanced and annoying team, especially with possession. And it's like Evil said, I'm a runner. I'm going to bid on all the fucking runners. They're all mine now. It's like the rest of the league, you ain't getting shit. They're all mine. But
Evil has a monopoly on the runners. Someone stop that man.
yeah, he pretty good strat, and him getting risky was I didn't see that coming. They always had some nice banter back in the day in the Amy League. I know for a bit, Novice had a bid on risky for 10, and that team would have been interesting. Panther Lily is a good fourth for him as well too, but if he would have ended up on Novice's team, that would have been interesting as well. But as far as I can see in their scrims, they've played really well together. Squirrel seems more like a tank than a runner, but I think he's a really good hybrid. And Risky's been playing really good in this game mode, and Evil really played well last season. People like to give him shit about, him wanting to be in the runner awards last season and all that, but he really did well. Like he's never ran that well whenever I've seen him play in a season. That's definitely the best he's ever ran. So he had a reason to stick his chest out a little bit. So definitely a really good, solid, annoying team to play against.
I mean, I'm honestly mostly surprised with how we'll score. Not to say I was expecting to play bad, but like I didn't expect him to have such a crazy improvement that he did from like the last time I played against him. He was not to call him average, but like maybe slightly above average. Then like now he seems maybe one of the best players in the league at the moment. Maybe I'm just overhyping him, but that's what these things are for, I guess. Like I always knew Katie was going to be good at Halo 5. I mean, not Halo 5 Infinite because of like the mode and how similar to Halo 5. Uh, I haven't seen Evil play, so I can't comment much on how well, like at all, he's played. Risky, I've only seen play once. That's about it. Like I haven't, I scrimmed this team, but it was without Evil and I think it was without Risky. So like I guess you can't really call it much of a scrim. So my experience with this team is limited, to be honest. So I can't say much.
Yeah, we've scrimmed their team a lot, and a lot of times the games are pretty back and forth. We'll win a couple, they'll win a couple, uh, and on paper when I first saw that team drafted, I was concerned because
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's going to work out.
yeah, but it clearly it has, and I was thinking about it, and in some ways it makes sense. I think due to Squirrel's running style, where he's a very punch heavy runner, it's almost like he's acting as a tank. So it does kind of work out that they get more of a push than you would at least think on paper. Uh, and obviously, like playmaking ability with KD has been working out well for them. They do really well on tip off too, I'd say.
Yeah, I think it's a good strat. Take all the runners. Don't leave anybody. Don't leave any runners for anybody else. Good key for success.
Really one of the best Grifball plays of all time. Just take all the runners, no one can run.
Truly a wildcat offense. But I know PD has been doing pretty well as an off tank. Being with the lead tank and the runner, either doing that or being a flanker. He's been. Last season he was a very good off tank whenever he subbed for us. So. Yeah, that's definitely a team right now, not Goose, that they have to be a shoe in for the playoffs or looking good for the playoffs because they're just looking really solid. They played really well together. Um, Moving on to number 3 is FC Barcelona, which is Novice's team. He picked up Spank, Aware, and Panther Lily as the rest of his team. Right away, when people saw Novice get Spank, that's nasty. That is nasty right there. It's uh last season he was definitely not one of the most fun seasons for Spank, but he's still a dominant player. He can still get a lot of kills. You pepper in Aware Mosquito, who was dominant in season 2, really had a breakout season then, and a very good third, solid off tank as well. Panther Lily made a lot of progress last season, and definitely will playing and starting this season. I know they split games last season on Pop Tart's team, but Novice is going to be running for this team, I'd imagine. And Evil had to say the best player in the league last season, Novice managed to snag top tank Spectron. This duo alone makes this team formidable. That's pretty much what I just said, but yeah. But definitely on paper, this team looks good, and obviously they were the second place runner-ups in the preseason rush, so they definitely have a good team, taking Cosmos and Evil's team to 3 games.
My only concern with this team, like just looking at the papers, I guess Panther Lily, but it's an experience thing. They were solid. If I remember right, if I was told right from Pop Turn H4, I don't remember if they played H5, so I can't really comment on that. I wasn't there for those days, so hopefully it gets better, plays more games. I haven't has been playing late league. I haven't been watching the late league scene these days.
Yeah, Panther Lily's been playing in late league, and he's been doing fairly well. I mean, late league can be pretty punishing with the people that end up signing up, but he's been holding his own. Uh, so I think that team's going to do really well. Aware he hasn't been able to play too much, but even in the times where we scrimmed that team, uh, we could see him like getting adjusted to the game mode pretty fast. Uh, and kind of figuring out his role on that team. So I think they're going to do well.
Yeah, it was funny being traded to a Wares team last season. He was kind of ho-hum before the trade, and then after the trade, we got him energized again, Me and PD like the clown. I'm surprised me and him were on the same team and actually won a game. He makes me laugh my ass off just in a chat or scrim or anything. I'm always laughing with that dude. But he really turned it up last season towards the end, where he started loving the game again and all that. And I know I'm not sure how much he likes thruster game mode. I think he's mentioned that he liked it. It's just nice to have something fresh. I'm still getting used to thrusters, that's for sure. I feel like I play a lot more aggressive on that mode. I try to be at least. But yeah, this team's definitely going to be a playoff contender. They just with this pool they have a lot of tanking power, and Novice has to be one of the most annoying runners to play against. He's just so good individually at scoring goals. But and on to number 2, Coupe de Puff. Hell's Angel, Infection going for the repeat. They got Grunt Padre again, so they got 3 members from last season's team, duh. And then their 4th is Ram. Evil had to say, I have the 2-time defending champs at number 2. It will be hard to keep this team away from the top spot all season. Strong team from top to bottom. And it's definitely important to get that nice core that they have. I mean, Health and Infection have been playing together. This will be their 3rd season in a row. And they definitely work well with Grunt as a third, a tank. Ram will be the wild card here, but Ram really digs the thruster game type and definitely
He
can
loves
turn.
the thrusters.
Yeah, he loves the thrustums, but he's definitely the key to this team. How well he plays, because the other 3 already have chemistry together, and Hells will be running obviously. Definitely the most efficient runner in the league. Very aggressive. I believe aggressive running is really the only way you could be mostly successful. I mean, KD and Mav, you both kind of proved that wrong. But KD's just good. She's going to be good in a passing offense, keeping the ball, scoring whenever it's time, the routes. She doesn't count. She's just good like that. But yeah, this team definitely will have the call-outs and work well together. I mean, Infection is just one of those fucking players, man. I mean, you can stick him in any group. He's going to mesh well and stand in the middle and do what he does and just be annoying. So, yeah, this team's not going to be... I'm not going to be looking forward to playing these guys.
And they're going for the 3P, aren't they? Because they won Season 2, then they won IGL, and then now they're going for a fucking 3P, which would be... I don't know, maybe it's happened before in the past, but would this be the first 3P? Because, I don't know, maybe there's never been a repeat. I don't know how many seasons of back-to-back
There have been repeats, but I don't think there's ever been a three-peat. Not in the bid league era. For sure there hasn't been a three-peat. The only thing I could think of if there was probably in GGL when you can make your own team, but that's just kind of pay to win, honestly.
I was gonna say it wouldn't be much of repeating, it'd just be playing the exact same teams over and over again.
Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely the third season for Hells and Infection to be together. So they definitely got something going on. They know how to play with each other very well, which is interesting because Hell doesn't use comms. She just uses a soundboard and pings in game. Doesn't matter. Still does a
Yeah,
great job.
we team a few times. One in the rush, and then I don't remember. I think we just scrimmed them one time prior to that, but I kind of get the impression maybe they're just like adjusting to the mode still, or I don't know. I kind of think that they're not giving it their all right now. I think they maybe have some plans in mind and what they're going to do when the actual uh, games start for the season. Uh, I think they'll do really well.
My only concern with this team is just the tanking, but like if if Infection and Grunt can sort of like hold the fort down and Ram can be like your flanking person since he loves passes so much, I think this team will be fine. Just have to sort of have like in Hells and I guess well I mean Hells isn't talk, but like those two duo sort of like command the field, I guess, and just be helpful.
Yeah, I think this team will definitely be pass happy as well because I know Hells and Infection got the pass game going on. Infection will get a couple of bullshit kills in the middle and he'll just fucking beeline right to the plate right away. That's something Spank does too, and really a lot of the top players do it. But Infection is just good at just hanging around right there in the middle until he gets a kill or two, and then he runs in. And Ram, he's going to be all about the passing offense, whether throwing or catching on the plate, which I imagine he'll be catching mostly, but. Um, Hell's running can take any team and just make them relevant. I feel like it doesn't even matter who the other three are. Just to be able to stay up and punch with the ball and stay alive for that long is pretty great to do. Almost like Novice, you know. Novice can just fucking carry a team. I mean, hell, he did it in those scrims. He just fucking run around everybody and get all the punches he needs. So, but number one on Evil's preseason rankings is Employees of the Month. Cosmos, Kim, Rain, Gargantuan Albert 69. That's his name now. Um, Evil says preseason rush champs. Combine that with the sheer tanking power they possess between Cosmos and Chemical, makes this team an easy early favorite. Uh, yeah, plus 60, plus 80, plus 90. What is he going to put up next? Cosmos got the KD for sure. No doubt about it. Uh, Big fan of the mode for sure. Um, Thrusters is definitely nice to see as a fresh game type. I know Kim wasn't on board right away, but I know it's grown on him. I have never seen Rain play this well ever. I mean, I was on his team in Halo 4. I was on his team in Halo 5. Rain is playing out of his fucking mind right now. He'll always be Gambit to me or KSI Tension. That's his name way back in the day. But he's playing better than I've ever seen him play. And Big Al's getting there. He played some in late league in the last offseason. He didn't play last IGL, so it'd been a while since he played. But I watched him progress even over the scrims that we played the other night. I think it was last night or the other night. Um, it'll be a lot on him running, how well he can do as a runner. But yeah, I still say this team rightfully should be number one in preseason because just the tanking power alone, all y'all gotta do is fix a couple of cracks, and this team will be really frustrating to play against.
Yeah, I want to know what you did to get Rain to play so well because I've run on his team the last 2 seasons and he hasn't played nearly this well, so I'm a little upset. Even got him buying a brand new fucking. Did you say he bought a new monitor or TV, whatever it was? I
Yeah,
remember
he bought a new monitor. Yeah.
he got him like so hyped for the season. He's buying shit to play better. It's kind of wild. To be honest with you, like I figured he would honestly be maybe good. We had conversations about him maybe picking him up, but obviously we went for Thumping Hawk and Geo instead, which has turned out fine. But like I'm a little jealous of what you have here. Honestly, your only problem is maybe running, but that's just an experience thing with Al since he hasn't played in so long. So I think you'll be top three easily. Just maybe have some like small things to fix, and that's it.
Yeah. yeah, I think we've got some things to work on. The good thing is that everybody on our team, not now with the holidays and stuff, but generally everybody on our team has good availability, so we can practice a lot together and work out those kinks that we have right now. But uh, yeah, I think we're pretty good on tanking. We're doing better on defense than I would have initially thought. I think our defense is pretty solid. Uh, we got to work on tip off for sure, but I think we've got some plans for that, and uh, and then just playing with each other a lot over time will just become more and more comfortable. But yeah, it's been a great experience so far, and personality wise, I just like playing with everybody on the team, including Spotato. He hasn't been able to play too much with us because he's been busy with work, but he's also somebody that would be really dedicated to the game and trying to improve. And he actually even helped me with the how to counter swords more effectively. I guess that's something that he was talking to Mungo about. So that's been really helpful. Even if he can't play, that he was able to share some advice that helped us. It's been good.
Honestly, to be honest, I kind of forgot that Kendrick was on your team. I don't know, like when no offense to him, but like when I think of your team, I mainly just think of you and Chemical because every time I fucking scrim you, I feel like I'm either going against you all the time, or I play Chemical, where me and him just look at each other.
Yeah, yeah, we would get a lot of standoffs with you. Your team has good tanking power too, so it's not something like when you guys go to flank us, we can't just immediately go and take care of you. Whoever's flanking, just kill them and then keep pushing up. So
You can be
uh,
thankful for Skull and Mongo for that because they're preaching like flanking, and
mm,
we're always trying to get better at 1v1s and like taking the risk, and they so far seem to be paying off. Not to give away my team secrets.
Yeah, top secret shit. But it's not a preseason without ranking Mungo last, so it makes sense that he's ninth, whether he deserves it or not. He loves the being ranked last, the underdog
Yeah,
forever.
he was telling us in our group chat how much he like his history with his teams being ranked last and them always winning championships every time he's been ranked last in a season.
The magic of Mungo. But yeah, I would say the only thing I could say about your team Cosmos is that you definitely got the kills in, but with being great at killing and Big Al running, sometimes or learning to run, sometimes there can be space, a lot of space in between you and him because he's being passive trying to keep the ball and y'all are being aggressive and pushing forward. So sometimes somebody can leak through or whatever. So it might just be best just to stick somebody with him. Kim would be good. Just stick Kim with him at all times. Make him his guard dog. Cause
yeah, that's something that we've been wanting to work on, and I think that we have. Al in the beginning was a lot more cautious in terms of his positioning because he's doesn't hasn't played thrusters much at all, and or Halo Infinite for that matter, Grifball.
I
So
say I think this is his first time playing in years.
yeah, could be, but that's something that he's been working on, and I see it paying off. Like he's a lot more ready to score when there's an opportunity, and I see him. He's taking these risks in situations where he's really by himself and it's been working out. So I think he has a ton of potential as a runner.
yeah, he was capable for many seasons in the Ami League, anchoring as a runner. So I know everybody's glad for the off season to be over and for bid hype to have come and go. And the season's gonna be starting tomorrow, so it'll be the race for playoffs. 6 teams are gonna make it in out of 9. So we got a nice season ahead of us. So we're pretty much to the end here. All we got to do right now is outro and shout outs. That's the last thing that we got. And I'm gonna start off by saying, before I forget, I wanted to give a shout out to Lux for the bidding bot. Had kind of a snafu at one point, and we had to wait. But the bot was really cool. It was kind of cool to have the updates page that just kind of showed everybody being bid on, so you don't have to go to the sheet and look around and all that. anything for being lazier on the internet. For all I say. So it was nice to have that little page to see where everybody was out at and. Of course, shout out to Digital for keeping the bot going during the off season. Lately, definitely wasn't as active this off season than last, but definitely appreciate him staying on that and working on it, doing whatever that is that involves in that, and then yeah, that's pretty much all I got. So, Mav, got anything you want to say? Any shout outs?
Honestly, I'm mostly just excited for the season. I mean, the season's probably gonna be a little faster than other ones because how we're doing
Mhm.
games this time around with the double headers. So I'm honestly just like excited to see, the season and things progress and teams, meshing well and hopefully having a really good competitive season. That's about it.
Yeah,
Cos-
I was gonna do say some of the same shout outs as you, Noplex, but also to shout out the admin team, Noplex, Priest, A Spence, Deathcrawler, and Matt for keeping the season going uh, and Grifball going, uh, and my team. They've been really dedicated. Really grateful to be playing with them this season. Chemical, Irene, Big Al, and Spotato. Uh, and then lastly, I also want to give a shout out to Ace Be Silent. He's a good guy and just a fountain of information. He's really knows the game very well. It's always a pleasure to talk to him.
Hashtag free ace. Please come back. We love you, even if you hate us.
Hopefully, he comes back one day.
Well, thank you again, you guys, for coming and being on the show with me, especially for being a guest, Cosmos. It's good to have you back as a co-host, Mav. And
Thank you for having me on the show again.
oh,
Yeah, thanks.
absolutely, it's always fun to do these. But until next time, I'll see you guys on the court. Later.